Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with game number 2. The draft has already begun. We can swing ourselves straight into that. With Sun Gaming up against VG Gaming Thunder. Already a 1-0 lead for Sylar and the boys. Yet again picking up the Tusk. Game number 1 was an interesting one. Sun had a few little struggles, but they definitely had a game plan. Just unfortunate in the execution. It felt like VG Gaming were just a couple of steps ahead.
Yeah, just with the way that the game went, VGJ winning both lanes, top and mid. It came to a point where Sun Gaming had to execute the game plan in just one way. Like, they only had this one option: find a good RP, find the right kinds of follow-up spells, and that can make it very, very hard because you also have to deal with the counterplay from VGJ, which was on point more often than not, apart from this one overextension here that we saw, just overcommitting towards the second set of racks, where they gave up a couple of extra kills, but at that point they were already far enough ahead that it didn't really matter too much. Thunder looking to come back in game number 2, make it a quick 2-0 after the earlier series against the same team, went to 3 games. Oh, let's see what happens here. Early Luna pick there from Sun Gaming.
10 seconds remaining.
So I don't know how that fits into the name, because Luna's a moon kind of hero, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe a rename on the cards.
Yeah, Moon Gaming.
Just Moon Gaming. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what they do. A very, very early Luna pick. Yeah. It's kind of unusual, honestly. We've seen a bit of early Lycan picks recently. Maybe they just like the letter L. Just first phase, any hero beginning with L. I'm not too sure what the plan is, but Luna, one of those heroes, you know, along with Gyro and Shadow Fiend. Early game magic damage, a bit of team fight. Flash farming capability is a key factor for her, who scales into physical damage later on. So she has a nice kind of curve out as the game progresses, enabling some decent team fights to come and go. But it signals to VG Gaming what you have, what you're going to go for, and the timings that you're going to hit. VG Gaming can start thinking about heroes that can get up in her face, that can jump and catch the Luna, can stun her and deal that damage in as quickly as possible. But I think, importantly, stealing stacks and applying map pressure early really can shut a Luna down. Sure enough, she can catch up through farming Ancients and jungle camps, but if she's forced out of lane, you know, harassed back and then shut out of her jungle, not really a hero that can offer too much.
Yeah, I mean, you always have a few lucid beams to throw in, but that may very well not be enough. The Gyrocopter, alright. It's a bit of an old classic, isn't it? This matchup, Gyrocopter, Luna, very similar heroes in many ways. You have this early peak with all the magical damage between the call down and the rocket barrage, or the lucid beams and the eclipse. And you also turn into the spread damage, physical damage carry in the later parts of the game if you itemize properly towards that. So, interesting pick here. VGJ Thunder, they want to fight fire with fire, essentially. That's what it feels like, anyway.
Stack stealing as well. Gyro, very good at getting into the jungle. Can play aggressively as well if you do like Gyro, Tusk, plus a Witch Doctor or a Rubik, for instance. You really can put the pressure on as DP, Tide, removed out these objective-taking heroes to tie in with these stack takers. Very, very strong. Broodmother removed. Don't want to deal with any of that nonsense, of course. But we'll find out how they progress on. As Sun Gaming, they've got their 5 in that Disruptor. We'll look towards one of these roaming heroes, like the Bounty Hunter maybe is a good one to ban out from VGJ. Dear Lord, that was a bad one.
Both was right?
Dear me. VG Gaming. Such a long, annoying name, honestly. Just Thunder. I'm just going to stick with Thunder and Sun. Well, there's the Bat Ban hero to jump in onto the Gyro. A lot of the same weaknesses as Luna. Those strong initiation heroes that gap close and then drag back, or force Gyro to reposition away from his cooldown, away from his flat cannon targets. A very, very good utility to ban out. But Sun, it's your turn to start picking.
Yeah. There's a few options that they can go for here if they're looking for offlaners. There's still like heroes like Doom, Underlord, kind of fit into the style of fighting head-on, having this area denial, this damage over time and rather low cooldowns. The other thing that's still available for them, if they want to go back to what they did yesterday, is the Clockwork Shadow Fiend combination. They certainly still have time to fit that in here.
Clockwork's banned.
Is it? Oh yeah, it is banned.
Dire team
How did I not see that?
It's a Night Stalker pickup.
Oh, yeah, no. That was still in the pool as well. Some of these more classic offliners here that we see either banned or picked, but very rarely ignored in these kind of drafts.
Well, the double nighttime, Darkness and Eclipse.
10 seconds remaining.
We'll see what they can do with it this time, of course. Thunder had the Night Stalker in the
5
previous
seconds
one.
remaining.
Darkness, such an amazing tool to shut down initiators in that kind of mid-game period. Disruptor really did struggle finding glimpses. Sand King had a hard time getting these burrow strikes in.
Radiant
Tusk,
team pick.
Snowball's going to be a hard skill during those night times as Thunder, they're the ones that go for the Witch Doctor. Cask, incredibly potent. Up against heroes that love diving you early, like that Night Stalker at that 4-minute mark.
Yeah. Especially if you have heroes like
10
Gyrocopter next to you
seconds
that can fuel up that Maledict with just 1 or 2 rocket barrages.
5 seconds remaining.
Or perhaps even set it up with a homing missile, right? It's very effective zoning spell if you have that extra threat coming through. So you can't just feel comfortable tanking it to the face without running away first.
They need something to go along with the Disruptor here, though, it feels like. Some kind of AoE.
To still go back to something like a Darkseer at the Night Stalker in 4 roaming position, then...
I don't know, Darkseer just seems gimmicky nowadays. Long cooldowns on his abilities. Doesn't really farm that quickly either. Doesn't really do the jobs that we like to see. So this Undying will likely move the Night Stalker into the off lane. Definitely a lot of lane pressure here from Sun.
Yep. Certainly not a hero that shows up in the Dota buff profile at all here for the last couple of games on record.
Remaining.
So taking over a new leaf, or turning over a new
5
leaf, perhaps
seconds
trying to
remaining.
catch Thunder off guard a bit. And it is one of these heroes, as you said, laning pressure, very strong in the first couple of minutes in the game, especially against heroes that don't have a lot of health points to work with in the first place, like Gyrocopter, right? So with that, a nuke or two from the Night Stalker, you might be able to find a few kills where they otherwise wouldn't have come out. It's also exceptionally strong if you have ways to protect a tombstone, and in that sense you have that synergy with the Disruptor.
Radiant team back.
Okay. So Thunder going for that themselves. Again, area denial. Trying to slow them down and keep them from running into you as much as they want. That's really what it comes down to.
10 seconds remaining.
Where do we go next is the question.
5
Still looking for mid lane
seconds
heroes for
remaining.
both of these teams.
Yeah, it's a weird one for me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see the synergy for Sun Gaming. It's pretty obvious for Thunder, right? They've got the laning of Gyro, Witch Doctor, Tusk. They've got kill power there. Underlord is tanky in the off lane, but it's the kind of 5-man group up and push that we know and love from Chinese Dota. They don't have particularly strong tower takers, so we'll look towards that mid lane hero. Potentially be someone who can just bully towers, or even a swap of lanes for Gyro to head towards mid. Whereas Sun Gaming, it just seems like we want to win the lanes. They're just clapping and screaming in voice chat, we want to win the lanes. Underlord, Night Stalker, Disruptor, and Luna all offer you that, but progressing from lanes into objectives, and Roshan, they don't have fast Roshan taking, they don't have fast tower pushers, they don't have huge team fight. They've got skirmish power for sure with glimpses and tombstones and Luna ulti. But outside of that, it feels piecemeal from Sun Gaming. It's like a bit of this, a bit of that, but I'm not sure quite yet how it all ties together.
Yeah, the idea basically has to be just run at you from mid at one, essentially. Right? Go for some sort of aggro dual lane.
Dragon Knight mid or something, I think, for Sun.
Exactly.
5 seconds.
Dragon Knight
remaining.
mid to then have that power to take that into objectives. Even Lycan, honestly,
Team pick.
if they want to go back for that. But that does mean that you have made yourself a very tight window, because these kind of drafts normally don't really scale all too well into later parts of the game. Tinker is a bit of a different direction, a bit of a backpedal if you want. You can also provide a little bit early on, but you're very limited with your mana. and you also have a very vulnerable phase before you hit these boots of travel. And that's something that the Tusk would really want to exploit. So I'm not sure if that was the right hero here for Sun Gaming.
Well, it will buy time. There is no catch, really, for the Tinker, so once he gets Boot to Travel, blink. As long as he's playing safely, he'll be reasonably okay moving around the map, split farming, and pressuring lanes. But with that Phantom Lancer pick for Sylar, could be heading towards mid. We could see the swap up, though. We could see Gyro mid, potentially.
Yep.
But it seemed like a very snap pick of the Tinker. I don't know if they thought too much about the Phantom Lancer. They immediately picked the Tinker to try and round out their draft, something maybe they've had prepared for this game. But we head into game number 2, best of 3. Thunder 1 game up over Sun. And sound travels a little slower than light, but I don't know about this series. Seems like the clap of thunder is going to be loud enough to shut down the Sun in this one.
Prepare for battle.
Wish they would call it lightning or something, because then we could have said lightning strikes twice if they win 2-0.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah. Doesn't quite work as well with thunder. But yeah. We'll see how it works out.
I got this the right way around, right? Yeah, Dire is thunder, 1-0. Excellent.
Yeah.
GH. Good luck, have fun. No need for the L and the F. Chinese efficiency at work there. So Tinker mid for Faded. They're going to potentially run, again, like you said, this dual lane Night Stalker and Undying head up there, while Disruptor and Luna will be taking up the bottom lane against an Underlord. Their magical damage should be able to zone him out a little bit in the early stages, but as the lane progresses, he'll be farming and getting experience just fine. Maybe fall back on some stacks, which really is going to be the pivotal factor in this game. How many stacks can you build up for your heroes that can clear stacks? But I do like this. The Gyro mid will be very good against the Tinker. The homing missile build is super annoying. Super annoying. And then you have the PL laning up against these two aggressive heroes, and Phantom Lancer, one of the age-old counters to Undying's Tombstone. Send the illusions forward with the Phantom Rush and right-click it down. As well as Gyro, you know, with Flat Cannon. Focus the Tombstone and have the Flat Cannon hits fly out onto all of your opponents. As a 2-for-2 bounty rune exchange will be what we end up with.
Nice play from Tusk, actually, throwing out the ice shards to block out the creeps next to the tier 2 tower. So that's the thing, right? It's not just the Gyrocopter in this middle lane. You also have the threat of the Tusk, and I gotta wonder how they plan on protecting the Tinker.
Oh look, homing missile.
Yes, they don't.
And shards. Faded could very well just die here. He's gonna have laser level 1, but the TP out. Oh no way!
Phew.
Gets back, salves up. Faded, already burning through that first bit of regen. Very annoying for the Tinker. Will be stuck at 0 last hits potentially for a while unless he decides to use laser on one of these creeps.
Gets shotted in again. Another rocket.
Oh, now
he's dead this time, right? No doubt about it. I'm giving it to the Gyrocopter, just letting him squirm for a while longer.
And Underlord doubling up his creep wave as well. We'll get a significant amount of experience from it as it swings in towards his tower. Just great plays by Thunder on every lane. Even top lane, you've got this PL. Sure, he's 2-1. Night Stalker 5-1, but they've not been pressured. You know, Witch Doctor hasn't died. PL hasn't burnt through much regen at all, it looks like. As the Undying and Night Stalker, who really do want to hunt for kills, have applied some pressure, but it doesn't feel like it's enough just yet.
Like the flip side, I mean, if you're just spamming out these DKs, sure, Phantom Lance is going to sit at low health, but the flip side is that one Tango just comparatively heals you a lot more once that DK spam eventually stops, and there's only so much mana for the Undying, even with that extra mango. No clarities or anything just yet to help him out in that regard.
Disruptor trapped between two dire heroes, but has an avenue of escape. Underlord still tanky enough to deal with all of this. Still though, this mid lane, Tinker gets his first last hits of the game. 2-2 against the 11-6 of Gyro. Holding on to skill points there.
It's only a matter of time, look at this already. Tusk with a haste rune, so rejoining that lane very, very quickly indeed. The Faded gets blocked in again. Easy walk forward with the whole new missile charged up and perhaps even a rocket barrage. 2 easy points into it. But for now, Faded staying on his own high ground means that he's not quite as vulnerable to that. As I say that, he's walking to the River of Death. Yeah. Actually not opting for a rocket barrage. There it is now with the first point. Yes, the wall did become
nice
necessary.
turnaround.
Nice rotation actually with the double DK. What? Are they gonna get him here?
Courier baiting. 3 minutes hit, so it does fly now. Interesting decision there. 2 heroes come in for the Radiant to save up this mid lane. Tinker already 2 deaths. Feels pretty bad for him. It's not as though they're winning out super hard in these other lanes. Night Stalker is farming nicely top as the PL evens up the CS tally. But Undying leaving that lane will more than likely lead to the Dire team equalizing things.
There's great sword space here in both of these supports rotating mids. And Soft is back bottom now, but Unlord already doing some creep shenanigans. Driving a wave across in front of his own tier 1 tower where he can farm much more safely. So he's getting a whole lot out of this offlane. And especially with the Undying, as I just said, Phantom Lands are up to 19 last hits. Closing in on a 20 of the Luna on the other side of the map. So everything's just going extremely peachy.
The first nighttime comes around, Night Stalker can think about making that first move. He's got a TP ready, Phase Boots, double Mango to go. I don't know if he's planning on playing aggressively into the Witch Doctor because he is getting wrapped around on the Undying. Might have spotted this, but it's a little bit too late as a snowball lands. The shards are there with the Cask and Maledict. A good Soul Rip keeps the Night Stalker up and running, but he doesn't have the time to get another Void in onto the Tusk. As we zoom out to catch everything, the final decay will pop that Tusk as the Night Stalker dies to the tick of Maledict. Luna, oh, made a rotation up towards top lane. Doppelganger away, the PL needs to make space. There's a decay with a Lucent Beam as well. The Undying diving in deep, but the stick charges comes through. The snowball forward catches him. Undying trapped inside the Fairy Fire, and another decay keeps him up. 300 HP still going through. Drags the creep wave out, but I'm not sure if he can get away with this. Another shards will be arriving from the Tusk to block him in, and perfectly placed will secure yet another kill. Even pops his Mango there to try and turn around, but a 3-man shrine is ready and waiting. And that Luna rotation, it looks good, but it opens things up for Underlord to push into tower. It means that she's not farming bot lane, she's now gone back to jungle, so it feels like a bit of a wasteful move there from the Dire to get very little.
Especially if you jungle without the Moonglaves. Not even a single point into it, and Faded even joining in, sticking some of these last hits for himself because he has to. He's a Tinker, he's just struggling to go towards that Soul Ring 6 minutes in. And all of these shenanigans up top, ultimately it's not enough to really give them an edge. In fact, Phantom Lands at level 5, so 3 points up into the queue. On top of the Maledict on the Undying. Can get a nice little extra decay off, but should still take out in the end, despite everything.
He's losing raindrop charges as well. Doesn't swap them into his backpack, so he gets ticked down by the Maledict. The hard counter to raindrops is one ability if you're not moving them around your inventory. Gyro thinking about a go in onto mid. He knows that March is down. Call down ready. The rest of his team's coming in as well.
Yeah, straight up start off with that Faded. Okay, realizing that this is not a safe place to be at all. And this is turning into a bit of a disaster. They do finish up the Phantom Lance up top. Well, Night Stalker solo kill. Interesting how that works out.
Yeah, Crippling Fear at night time just means you can't Doppelganger, level 3 Void, and then a Phase Boots. Does pack a punch, about 100 damage a hit there from Night Stalker. Means that PL, with his slow and steady build, Wand, Aquila, Quelling, doesn't really have that much tankiness behind him. While Luna has returned bottom lane at long last, gets back to farming.
Need to do a whole lot of that, and we were talking about stacks earlier. So far we haven't seen too many. There's one on the hard camp down on the bottom, yeah, where the Disruptor is right now. But apart from that, Radiant, there's another one near the shrine. The Tinker is about to farm up now. Okay. Rock Barrage, pretty damn strong, going for that max. They can immediately get rid of the Tombstone. Rocket also flies the homing missile, finding the Undying behind the tower. They really want to get that kill. Another Rocket Barrage. The guys get it off before the silence, but tanked up in part by the Night Stalker. Big DK. Sora cannot get it off here. With the Snowball interrupting that animation once. Another Rocket Barrage here, and that'll be isolated on the Night Stalker. With the extra right clicks with a Thunder Strike, might be enough to finish off the Gyro Cutter, but it does have the Tango going, and it's barely enough to keep him safe. And meanwhile, Disruptor also not out of the woods just yet. Rooted up once again. Ice shots. The woods are not safe either, as they just found out. HY was wrong.
Absolute butchery here as the Dire 10-4 lead now. 3k net worth, but killing one after the other. Close windows though, honestly, you know, taking down that Luna before she could ulti, getting the Undying. But the Gyro precasting Rocket Barrage as he dived in the tier 1 just before the silence from Night Stalker arrived really was the defining factor, along with all these wonderful wand charges being piled up. But Gyro now, I mean, what's he sitting at? 303, 50 CS, level 7, looking very good. Top of the net worth, 900 ahead his nearest competitor, which is in fact his teammate Phantom Lancer. And then you've got Underlord just behind them, looking incredibly good. Unfortunately for the Radiant, Tinker still incredibly far behind. Needs stacks himself. You know, we were talking the entire draft about stacks for the Luna, for the Gyro, but Tinker really does desperately need them. Skipping out on the rockets, only 2 in the laser. The full March of the Machines build is heavily indicative of him feeling that he's behind and he needs to really balance the scales through farming.
He's in skipping the soldering entirely for now, just be trying to rush towards these boots of travel, even getting some extra help from the Disruptor. Making sure that there's no ward scouting him out and no shenanigans happening. Worst comes to worst, he's gonna tank some smoke gangs, but this is actually happening on the other side of the map. With Night Stalkers sitting inside the trees. Once again, those are not safe at all. He will find it out once again the hard way.
Gyro dominating now. It is kind of interesting with the Tinker that these item builds change so frequently depending on how you feel about the game as a Tinker player. Because quite often, when you're behind, you feel like you need to go Soul Ring to get that farming speed up. But if you're too far behind that behind status, then you feel like I need to rush Boots of Travel to be able to get map control and farm across the map. As Undying has been found, and he's going to give up his Tombstone as well. The Glimpse will not be able to save him here, just delays his death, demise next to his shrine. Yeah, usually with Tinker, you know, it's like, okay, sick, I can get a fast Soul Ring so I can farm, or I can get a fast Boots of Travel so I can move around the map. Or it's like, oh, I'm behind, I need to get this Soul Ring to farm, but now I'm so far behind, I need to get the Boots of Travel before the Soul Ring. He really is having a real struggle deciding what to do, but this regen rune will help him in the interim get through some of these jungle camps. It's just the rest of the map doesn't belong to his team. Tusk has done such an amazing job. Snowballing around 1, 2, and 10. 11 out of the 12 kills Tusk has been involved in. Spectacular performance so far.
As far as 4 positions go, this is the ideal score. And they might hit a timing that even if the Tinker gets Boots of Travel, it's not even the be-all end-all. It's just a path, a step towards these bigger items. But if you're just losing more and more map control before that, and more team fights, and more and more momentum before you can actually leverage that, then it doesn't matter in the end, right? Because you have a Gyrocopter still sitting on top of that road chart. Phase Drum is going straight for Sanjay Yasha, so a very mid-game centric, heavy fighting build. Same with the Phantom Lancer, going for the treads and not holding out for Boots of Travel himself. Now has that the Feudal Blade queued up. So they're all building into this mid-game power spike.
Oh, it's endgame. Like they're building to end the game as quickly as they can. It feels like, you know, it's going to be these items and then BKB basically for Gyro, and maybe, you know, a Manta or a Blink or something for the PL just to be able to catch people as they do angle in for a fight bottom. But the Radiant have caught them potentially with a Glimpse Static Storm. The Gyro not fast enough to get outside of this kinetic field, and finally his streak has ended. Over-aggression from the Dire could lead to a lot of gold going the way of Sun Gaming at this point. Snowball not available, and Tusk deep in behind enemy lines, sure to fall. How many heroes? 5 grouping around that poor Tusk. Jeez.
no hope whatsoever. It's about the psychological impact, you know? You see 5 heroes running at you and you just give up on life. Meanwhile mid though, look at this, faded. Is he? Is he? He is. He's dead to Phantom Lancer, just not caring about the martial machines at all.
There's Sylar. Incredibly strong. Was that? Okay, Tinker has the boots of travel. Step 1, 12 minutes boots of travel. As do miss another kill. T-Tours. Big one.
I missed it too, we can blame. Just blame Skim, I guess.
Yeah, that's the way.
Even though he's not here.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Task might be the next one here. Smoked up, they find a glimpse. Snowball to lay things towards the creeps, I want to say. Yeah, extra help from the Underlord, trying to interrupt with that area denial, but Shrine can't quite get in range. So another support ends up dropping.
And they farm the stack as well, potentially.
Trying to anyway. The glimpse comes through, not being dodged. Now, silence on the Underlord. He's all alone here. He's trying to be out. That's not gonna happen. It's a bit questionable here, just dropping one by one like that. Now the Witch Doctor also trying to fight up against the Disruptor. He'll get that kill, alright. Power to him.
They have to be careful. They've stuck around for a long time. They need to start thinking about TPs. Unlaw's going to get caught. In comes the Gyro. Luna and Nightstalker need to get the hell out. The chase is here. The cask. Oh my god, if he gets a two-man cask, but he's silenced up. The Nightstalker will save them both. The TP away. No cancel on that while the Luna sprints back down to the south. Could have been a disaster there as the chase ensued. But Radiant coming out strong. Playing very aggressively from a good fight bottom lane. Sure, over an eager dive from the Dire. But then the chase all the way through to the Shrine, getting a number of other additional targets. And you can see the Gyro is... Oh, well, he's changed. He's thinking about the BKB, but Witch Doctor found by the Luna ulti in the meantime.
Running into each other, and then that moment Witch Doctor realized, alright, I'm done goofed. Goodbye. And at the very least, he can rest easy knowing that he at least forced out the Eclipse, and that's uncooled for a while now. But yeah. All of this is making sure that Thunder has to slow down a little bit, right? They have to regroup at the very least. Because for the past couple of minutes, at least one of the heroes has always been on the sidelines.
Tinker's had some time now. Boots of Travel, Soul Ring up. Blink Dagger is queued. A little bit of distance away from it, but Luna and Tinker are able to take down some of these big ancient stacks while, like you're saying, the Dire kind of have to rethink what they're up to. Nearly have the pipe on Underlord. Maybe another 5-man group up is on the cards as Gyro looks to take out the trifecta of beautiful camps.
So efficient. Able to get a lot of damage done with this flak cannon now maxed out. Only 1 point up into the homing missile. So opting to max it out for maximum annoyance. But actually looking towards this bottom lane rather than a tier 1 mid, which is actually still standing, miraculously enough. Also see this Tinker here, you mentioned it before, there's not a lot of good catch. Until there's perhaps a Blink Dagger for the Tusk, but he's only now started to queue it up.
Everyone's sitting around mid lane. Keep the Luna safe. Keep her farm going. Swing up towards top, and this is much more like it. Sun playing as a unit. Play around your vision. Play around the objectives that you want to take. Roshan is going to be a big one as well if they can get their corner of the map all set up. Thunder do have this smoke coming in towards mid though. Undying. Going to be scouted here by the Tusk. Oh, Snowball. No, it's going to be the punch to start things off. Easy kill. Soul Rip not going to do too much as the tier 1 in their sights. And Sun will not come back to defend.
He's going to be a bit annoyed at Ice Rock right now. False advertising and all. Undying, but he keeps dying regardless. But unfortunate here. Tower also drops for the War Straight, of course, with tier 1 in at the top lane. And now it's actually Sun Gaming who is smoked up, looking to wrap around themselves, but it looks like Thunder not going to be caught off guard by that at all.
PL is pretty much in fighting shape right now. Yeah. Diffusal Blade, Yasha coming out on the Courier. If he's able to pop this smoke and get away with his life, definitely in a good spot. The smoke's going to pop. They know the PL's nearby, but which one is he? They're going to go with the run forward. The lance is thrown, the snowball forward as well, but This Static Storm will not accomplish anything. The pipe is popped by the Underlord. The Glimpse back, not going to do too much, just sends one away. But the call down, perfect in. The Tinker now moving himself forward. But it's the Luna that's caught inside with the shards there. Eclipse will not be enough. Everyone tanks it up, keeping them all alive. And at the same time, taking the Undying and the Tombstone down with them. And now it's like, oh guys, that's the real one, by the way. The Underlord pings him, it's like, wait, it was that one.
Well, it was a pretty good team fight. Also very patient, just waiting out that Static Storm, Tusk rolling in, just baiting it out almost and still able to walk to the side of it. It's very, very bold playing, generally speaking, just fighting around the shrine, but they were able to keep them away from the defective range. Right? They basically made a wall of heroes. Gyrocopter in front. Again, everything worked out well in the Phantom Lance. He was just saying I wasn't fighting shape, and this is the reason why. Unless you do catch him with that Static Storm, what do you really do against him? If he is allowed to be mobile with the almost maxed out Doppelganger, just dodging things around.
He needs a way to try and cancel Tinker's TPs, though. I mean, that's the only trouble he has.
Yeah. It's never going to build into a basher, right? So he's going to have to rely on his teammates to do that for him, more than likely.
That's the trouble, though, right?
Unless you buy Nullifier. You can nullify before he starts the TP.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wait, does Nullify cancel TP?
No, it doesn't, but
channeling,
you
right?
can't cast it.
You can't TP after.
You have to get the Nullifier off before the TP comes out, then that'll work out. Not if it's already been cast. Also nothing that can cancel the Analog TPs, that's going to be useful for him.
Tinker is getting a little bit annoying now. Kaya is very close to completion. And again, faded. Relatively free game after the laning stage. Jumping around, farming everywhere. As Thunder trying to look for that foothold in the game, looks back on this gyro. He's all alone. Pops the call down, but the kinetic field tries to hold him in place. The Tinker TP cancelled. The Static Storm's there, but the cask into the Death Ward. Disruptor down. Gyro's still alive. He will get brought by the Lucid Beam, but this is just absolute annihilation.
This is where Lal playing Witch Doctor. You bounce out the cask. No one's ready to deal with you, so you maledict until you throw out the Death Ward on top of everything, and you just see the health points go down and down and down. So Gyrocopter with the noble sacrifice. Not that they planned on it or anything. I don't think we can claim that, but it did work out for them in the end. Now going to Roshan, Phantom Lancer. Of course, ever since the change that Illusions don't instantly die, have a much easier time with that, just because it's not taking up any damage apart from the clap that the Roshan does every once in a while.
They've got their Voodoo Restoration now. They're all fine. And that should be the Glimmer Cape nearly done for Witch Doctor as well, to save people, even himself, from Eclipse or the Tinker nukes. But again, you know, this Radiant team, sure enough, that last pick Tinker looked good, and maybe it ties everything together and it gives them the split push they need to draw this Dire team and pick them apart. But I still don't see the game plan. I still don't see this overarching cohesion between these heroes. They've got a bit of pick off, they've got a decent amount of damage, but the Dire just seems so much better moving forward and finding these actual 5v5 team fights or bigger skirmishes. Night Stalker does scout them out as they go, but it's still going to be Thunder. Front foot forward, 9k net worth lead, double the kill score of Sun. And Phantom Lancer with Aegis Manta Diffuser Blades going for a heart now, so he's not going to care about the Tinker, not going to care about catching and killing. He just wants to tank up and be that unmovable object.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Lost the mid tower, so giving a little bit of extra space here over towards Sun Gaming as they claim the Dire side of the map here, but not for too long. Thunder looking to try and clash into them, intercept them as they retreat, perhaps.
Sun needs a choke point. I've spotted what they need. Like legit, they need to fight in a choke point somewhere. This is good, but it's just an Underlord. Maybe now? The rest of Dire coming in?
That is Underlord dropping low and low. That's going to Tombstone off, healing himself now. Everyone inside the Static Storm. Whereas the follow-up's not really there. The death ward from the high ground prevents them from going further into that. So they lose both of these supports, and, well, despite this static storm, despite everything being thrown at them, they're not really breaking a sweat, and now looking for more. Luna barely not being caught by those ice shots. She would have been screwed if she was, because there's no 4-star for anything.
This is high ground though. Static Storm and Tombstone down. Tier 2 falls incredibly quickly. While they still have Aegis, they still have cooldown. Thunder could just go up towards tier 3s here, it feels like. They're going to play it safe for now and swing back towards top. But I really do feel like they could have gone for a little bit more there. I guess with the short respawn timers on these supports, they are alive before they reach the ramp. But even so...
Also expanded a few things. I mean, in terms of cooldowns, just the Witch Doctor ultimate, but also the Underlord's survivability, right? The pipe inside the mechanism. Those are what makes it impossible for them to actually kill him. BKB forced out, Snowball coming through, punch up in the air. Luna kind of has to fight you, but you can't. There's no way to clean through all of these illusions unless you lead them into the march. They're still doing so much mana burn. Undying, completely taken out of the fight because of it.
They can't deal with PL. Until this Tinker gets Ags, it's just so hard to deal with that Phantom Lancer from Sylar. So tier 2 top for Thunder as they look to close out this game. It really is a tough one to come back from. Late game, sure, I can see this Radiant team doing well with the Tinker and the Luna with chain hexes and spam out of laser and rockets, but right now it's the Dire's turn to fight. They sprint forward, not quite trapping Underlord in the shards. Do have to back up and think about the tier 3, but they've breached high ground and they've got the sustain. Voodoo Restoration, Pipe, the heals from all of these heroes as the Sigil from Tusk is searching for the Tinker over to the west as well, but tier 3 will fall. And with the Aegis still here for how long? A minute and 20? Sylar is under no pressure.
They also had to expend the Static Storm to save Undying from illusions from the Phantom Lancer. That's how bad that's how few tools they have available to deal with the actual hero, not
I think it's game over.
Illusions. Imagine not dying here almost to the marching machines, but he still has Aegis, so it doesn't really catch much. But I gotta have to agree, it's another one of these moments where I figured, hey, sure, you have this lineup that has potential, but getting to that point is the difficult part. Last game was the Anti-Mage for Faded, and this game perhaps the Tinker, who's not quite online. I mean, all he has is the Kaya, which doesn't really change the fundamental way the hero works, does it?
Well, he's 200 gold away from Ags. That will definitely.
That will, yeah. They've all lost so much.
And Gyro has BKB now. 10-second BKB is ready for him. And I don't think there's much stopping Thunder from just running down another lane. Aegis does get reclaimed in 15 seconds, so maybe Sylar's making the call that he doesn't feel safe anymore, but with both lanes, mid and bottom, being pushed in, top lane, of course, already without that melee Rax, it's VG Gaming Thunder who can think about that next Roshan, think about resetting the game, and having that final maneuver to finish it all as they do find the Night Stalker, but no snowball forward. Tusk not able to get the vision to commit.
Static Storm again used up top just to farm a creep wave and keep the push going. Again, it's a bit of an issue.
Desperation.
There's not even a lot of breathing space. They have to go for these kind of plays to get whatever they can. It's just a matter of time until Thunder strike again, because we were talking about that BKB, Blink Deck even queued up in a Gyrocopter just to get close to people. You also have the Hearts almost ready for the Phantom Lancer. And he's definitely gonna have that before the Roshan respawns. And at that moment, like, it's all on the Tinker, but I don't know if that's... It's just not gonna be enough. I don't think he can provide enough unless they let him on the side of Thunder, right?
If like one rogue homing missile, one snowball, one root from a pit of malice, and Tinker's game ends. Like the fact that we rely now on a Tinker with a buyback when he has to save up money for that and not have these items which he needs to win really does set them back quite significantly. So we're looking at what? Luna, Undying, Night Stalker with buybacks on the Radiant. They're probably going to need all of them very soon. Underlord going to go for the TP down towards bottom as PL left mid. Night Stalker TP's away. We're hunting for him. But 3 lanes shoving into the Radiant base, and Tinker cannot cover them all.
With chip damage done by the illusions. Team has arrived in the bottom lane. Phantom Lands are now taken over with this actual proper hero in the front lines. And yeah, as I said, Tinker nowhere to be seen right now. Pipe already used, does some of the damage. They find him inside the trees. They get rid of some of them with the doppelganger, and he is dead. Down for the count. No buybacks. BK beat up Gyrocopter. Does not care about the static storm at all. Just charging forward and now getting the help from Wrestle's teammate. The cast bouncing back towards the fountain. Disruptor just dies of a heart attack by the looks of it. And
PL breathed on him and he fell over.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, you know, one Snowball, one Pit of Mouse, whatever, they have an inkling of where the Tinker is, the Tinker dies, the game ends, and that's VG Gaming Thunder 2-0ing Sun Gaming and getting themselves through to the next stage here for the ESL One Genting Chinese Qualifier. Luna going to clear up the Witch Doctor at the very end, but too little, too late, unfortunately, as we now have another team going through to that final, kinda. So tomorrow, LFY up against IG to see who gets one of those spots from the Chinese qualifier. And now we have VGJ Thunder taking on one of Keen Gaming or Newbie M, which is the series that's still going on right now.
Yeah, either way, should be a good couple of final games coming up there. Winners will round out the lineup for Genting, as you said, and well, then the actual event is not too far away either.
No, we're getting closer and closer. But that is it for us today. We are done and done right on time as well, you know, just before 3 p.m. Everything has gone along absolutely swimmingly. A couple of good series, a couple of interesting games. Very well done by VGJ there, you know, especially after the 3-game series they played up against Sun literally hours ago, coming straight into another best of 3 and winning 2-0 there instead of 2-1. Definitely indicative of their prowess. Yeah. But they'll head through to the next stage of the qualifiers. If they win their next best of 3 here, they will qualify for ESL One Genting 2018. From myself and Drag and Drop, goodbye, have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow 9 AM CET with the rest of our series.